Hello everyone! Today we're going to make some soap using all Essential Depot products. This is the bar of soap that we're going to be making today. Isn't it pretty? I'm sort of happy with it. And I wanted to call off the ingredients, so get your pen and paper out. You can pause this video for a moment and then turn me back on. Alright, now we're going to use 11 ounces of Essential Depot's beef tallow and 11 ounces of Essential Depot's palm oil and 11 ounces of Essential Depot's coconut oil. We're going to need 12.6 ounces of water and 5.1 ounces of Essential Depot's lye. Now in this recipe, there is animal products. This is a 0% superfat recipe, and so with it being that way, 100% of all of those three base oils will be turned into soap, and I'll explain that more as we go. We're going to superfat the soap at the end. Now, I also created a recipe for those of you who don't like to use animal products. Here's the ingredients needed for that recipe. 2 ounces of Essential Depot's stearic acid, 8 ounces of Essential Depot's Pomace Olive Oil, 13 ounces of Essential Depot's coconut oil, and 13 ounces of Essential Depot's palm oil. We'll need 13.7 ounces of water and 5.6 of Essential Depot's lye. Now, let's get soaping. Okay, we're adding our 11 ounces of beef tallow. And animal products make the most awesome soap. And with this recipe, 100% of that beef tallow will be turned into soap. There'll be no residue of beef tallow left in the recipe. I'll explain more of that later. Okay, and, excuse me. Now we're adding 11 ounces of palm oil from Essential Depot. And now we're adding 11 ounces of Essential Depot's coconut oil. And I have got this on high to heat the oils because we've got 3 hard oils, so it will take quite a bit to melt them. But after they're melted, I'm going to let them completely cool down from between 110 and 130 degrees before I add the lye water. Okay, we're going to use 12.6 of water. Alright, and we're going to be using Essential Depot's food safe lye, or food grade lye, which is also for purposes of using in certain applications for food is safe. And I got too much, so I'm using a dry spoon and a spoon that's small enough that I can put it back into the bottle so that all the lye gets back in there and doesn't fall onto my counter. We're using a stainless steel whisk. Alright, and we will let this cool. This lye water will cool until it is 100 to 110 degrees. Okay, now we're going to add our lye water to our oils. And use our stick blender to blend it. Okay, now we'll let our stick blender rest for a few moments, and then we will blend it again and keep doing that until we get a firm trace. Okay, now we're going to do our Supperfats, and I created this recipe with a 0 superfat, so 100% of the base oils that is in the crock pot now will be turned into soap. And then we are going to use Essential Depot's coconut oil, Essential Depot's organic unrefined cocoa butter, and Essential Depot's organic unrefined shea butter, along with some of Essential Depot's glycerin. And I refilled this bottle and the label has gotten messed up. It's well used. So first we will put our bowl, and we must use a microwave safe bowl because our cocoa butter is very, very hard. Okay, today we are doing a 13% superfat because I'm making a lotion bar with this recipe. But normally you would only do 2.5 ounces, and that would be an 8% superfat. But today I'm going to do 5 ounces, and so first I'm going to measure out 1.5 ounces of coconut oil, or excuse me, cocoa butter. Let me get my knife. And this is why you have to heat it first, because it's very, very, very hard. And my scale just went off. Hang on a second, y'all. So let's try this again. So we're at 1.1 ounces. Okay, and there is 1.5. You have to work to get this stuff back down in this container. Alright. Okay, and now I'm going to put an ounce. So we're going to bring that up to 2.5 of Essential Depot's coconut oil. And as I said, normally you would only do 2 ounces and a half, but we're doing 5 ounces total because of the fact that we're doing a lotion bar. And this is not suitable for using in the shower. And so now we're going to do 2.5 ounces of the shea butter. Okay, so now we have 5 ounces, and we will need to heat this in the microwave. And then, but before we do that, we can go ahead and put in our one tablespoon of glycerin. I think I slightly overdid that. But 1 tablespoon of vegetable glycerin, also purchased at Essential Depot. And glycerin is one of the most hypoallergenic emollients out there. When you find products that are hypoallergenic, you will commonly find vegetable-based glycerin. Okay. I'm going to use Essential Depot's lavender. It's very calming, very good for the skin. And Essential Depot's Pomarosa. Also very pleasant and good for the skin. I'm going to start with 2 tablespoons of the Pomarosa and 2 tablespoons of the lavender. And then if we feel like we need it, we will adjust it once we are adding the essential oils to the soap. So this is our Supperfats. And normally we would add 1 ounce of shea butter, 1 ounce of cocoa butter, and 1/2 ounce of coconut oil. But today we did 5 ounce total, and you can break that up the way you want. And then here is our 4 tablespoons, or roughly, of rough measurements of Pomarosa and lavender, which is what we are going to use to scent the soap and to make our lotion bar. And when this is sold, it will be needed to recommend that people don't take a bath with it, because it will make the bottom of the tub a little slipperier than usual, and someone could fall down. So when making a lotion bar, make sure you explain this is for hands and feet or shaving in the tub, but you have to be careful about standing up. Okay, now I have chosen some end pieces from previous recipes that are colorful, and I'm going to chop these into small pieces that would be suitable to go into my soap. And I'm going to take off, and I'm not going to use the rough, or what we might call the decorative top. I'm just going to use the squares. And these squares will be put into the soap right before it's done to make the soap very decorative. And I'll show you again. 1, 2, 3. And then I'm going to take off the decorative edge and set it aside. And then I'm cutting my squares. And aren't those going to be beautiful dropped into the soap? I'm going to do the same with this one. 1, 2, 3. And then I'm going to take off the decorative edge. And when those are all mixed together, those will be beautiful added to the soap. Okay, now the soap has cooked for 2.5 hours, and the last 30 minutes I'm going to add the Supperfats. When the soap had been cooking for an hour, I stirred the soap and then returned the lid and just left it be. And I'm using a clean spoon. This soap, I'm not using any colorant, but if you were using colorant and there was white dried soap on your spoon, it would cause white specks and globs in your soap. So you always want to use a clean spoon when you add your Supperfats and colorants. And I swear that smells good enough to eat. Alright, now we will let this cook for another 30 minutes with the lid on. Okay, I have 4 cups of the cubes cut, and I have used a candy thermometer to determine that my soap is right at 175 degrees, and you want to add these at 175 to 180 degrees. And the reason that you want to do that is because this is going to cool the soap down quite quickly. And so if you waited till the soap was the correct temperature to put in your essential oils, which is 160, then it would cool your soap so fast that you might not be able to mold it. And so we're just stirring these in well. I'm going to clean down my sides. Okay, that looks well blended. Now we'll put our thermometer back into the soap and see how cool that made that. It'll take a few seconds. And I'm wiggling it around because there's all those pieces in there. And so that knocked, excuse me, that knocked the temperature down quite quickly. And it looks like we're going to hit 158. So 175 to 180 is a good temperature. Now we will put our Pomarosa and lavender in and stir that up. Alright, let's give that a smell. That smells quite nice, but I like for it to really hit you in the face. And so I'm going to put 1 more tablespoon of lavender in. And 1 more tablespoon of the Pomace soap. Yes. Okay, now let's get our mold. And let's begin to put our pretty lotion bar in the mold. Okay, now I'm going to get a board and push that up, and I'm going to push my soap down with my fingers. Because I have to push firmer, and it is a little warm, but you can do it. And then okay, and then I'm gonna just make a squeezigly line on the top and take that off. That smells good. And now, to assist with air bubbles, I'm gonna beat it. And there you go. Alright, now, as you saw, because we added the chunks, it cooled the soap down really fast. I was able to work with it with my hands, and you can see how it's stuck on my hands. So I did it at 175. You might want to do it at 180 to 185. The only thing you have to be concerned with is if I'm using a white color with the colorful chunks, and you will have to consider the fact that if you put those chunks in when the soap is too hot, you're going to have issues with the soap possibly melting the little squares enough that the color from those squares might start smearing through the soap. And so so it's just a test. You just have to do trial and error. And so I did 175, and I know 180 would have been better. So, okay, tomorrow we'll cut that and see how we like it. Hello, everyone. Now we're going to cut the soap. I was looking at the video yesterday, and if I had put the soap in when it was like 180 to 185, I think that, I don't know if you noticed how pretty the soap looked when I was just, putting it in with the spoon and the chunks was sort of popping up at the top. And one of the reasons that I didn't push chunks, save chunks to push down in the top is because I wasn't sure exactly how the soap was going to function, and I didn't want to possibly not have those pieces stick to the top and fall off. And I'm a chemical free, and I know a lot of people says, spray it with alcohol, but I try to be chemical free, and so I didn't want to spray it with alcohol to make the pieces stick. I try to do everything just as rustic and natural as I can, and I try to use all natural products. Oh, isn't that pretty? And see, we've got a lot of air pockets right in here that we wouldn't have had, I think, if I had put this soap in when it was a little bit hotter. But it's always trial and error, and when you're doing something you've never done before, the only thing you can do is try and see how it comes out. And so, because I do a real rustic soap, this little bit of novelty will go over. Anyway, now with hot processed soap, if you have if you have a really deep pocket, when you trim your edges, you can take that soap and literally press it into the bad spots and fill them up. So, oh, this is so pretty, and I can't wait to see how this looks on the inside. So let's cut it. Let's get that mold out of the way. Let's see. This is the prettiest end. I always start with the prettiest end first, because sometimes you'll have a big wedge that's not quite big enough for a soap bar, but yet, it's there. And so you, that way you can cut that bad part off. And I'm going to cut just a thin sliver to clean up the first bar's end. Okay, here we go. Oh, it's so pretty. And now some of you won't get it so excited because some people do cold process soap with all these wonderful, difficult designs and patterns. But for me, this is absolutely awesome. Now let's see what it smells like. Oh, and it smells absolutely heavenly. The lavender is not overwhelming the Pomarosa, and the Pomarosa is not overwhelming the lavender. So this is absolutely perfect. Oh, that one's pretty too. And in a minute, I'll cut a few more bars, and then in a minute, I want to take it to the sink, and let's see how it feels. I mean, it's got to cure for 3 days, but I want to see how it feels. Ooh, that is so pretty. I just love that. And it's just a perfect way to reuse your soap scraps. So, and if you want to see what the end looks like, there is that. And then I'm going to bring you over here and show it, bring the camera over here and show it to you just a little bit better too. So, hang on. Alright, now let's cut our soap. And that's cutting very easily. Isn't that beautiful? Alright, let's see how this soap lathers. I just have a little piece of the scrap. Oh, look at those bubbles. And it's very creamy. Very, very pleasant. Look how thick and luscious. That would be an awesome lather for shaving. And now let's get some bubbles going. And look at those bubbles. Very bubbly. It feels so soft and luscious. And it feels very, very pleasant. But look at how that would be for shaving. I mean, I like a lotion bar for shaving. And look at the creamy, thick lather. Yeah. And it feels so, it just feels so extra creamy and extra soft. So, I think this recipe is really good. Oh yeah, and my hands feel really, really nice. Alright. That just feels really, really good. So I'm really pleased with this recipe. Hey everybody. And this is our beautiful soap. And I have been giving it a few cuts. And it has cut really, really easy. And as you know, this is a new recipe made with Essential Depot products, and it is already very firm to the touch. It's not like when you squeeze, you're not denting in. So this should cure out very easily in 3 to 5 days. Depending on your climate, your altitude, if it's raining, if it's dry, that kind of thing. And I really think that it would have been nice if I had have put it in at 185 degrees. Put the chunks in the soap at 185 degrees. I think that would have made it a little bit easier to work with when I was molding it. And I would also have been able to put in, to do a more decorative top. So I'm real pleased with the soap. It is just beautiful. And the smell. the Pomarosa and the lavender really balance each other well, so I highly recommend, if you're using Pomarosa and lavender, to use equal parts. That really, really smells awesome. And being that it's a lotion bar, that is going to make this, of course, heavily superfatted. So if you sell this when you sell this to customers, if you decide to make some, make sure you warn them that it could make the bottom of their tub a little extra slippery if they should get in the shower with it. My recommendation is this is an awesome soap to take a tub bath with for shaving, especially. But you know, if you take a tub bath with it, you're gonna just, get in there with all those wonderful extra super fats, and it's gonna make your skin feel so awesome. But you've got to be cautious with the bottom of the tub. And then this is great for just keeping at the sink for washing hands and face with, because it's a lotion bar, so it's extra moisturizing. I've been sort of curious what that last bar is going to look like, and so let's give that a cut. And I always start cutting on the prettiest end, because often the end that looks the worst is the end that you end up with a chunk that gets thrown into the scrap bin. So sure enough, we have a beautiful bar right down to the last drop. Oh, I am so pleased with this soap. And we used all Essential Depot products to create this recipe. The colorants that were in my scraps, Essential Depot sells several spices that are excellent for coloring. And I'm hoping that soon they will start selling clays, all natural clays, because I like all natural stuff. So I like all natural products. Now, when I was putting it in the soap, and you were just watching that was yesterday for me, but when I was putting it in the mold, if it had been a little bit warmer, that spoon action that I had going, where the chunks were sort of lightly sticking up, the soap wouldn't have been this tall. It would have probably been about that much shorter, maybe. But if you have the wide molds where you make a longer, shorter bar, you'd have to be careful about getting it too skinny. But that if it was just a touch warmer when I was working with it yesterday, that spoon action I had going, where the little chunks were peeking out, would have been a real pretty decorative top. But I could tell that I was getting too cool and too firm, and so I had to go ahead and just press it down and make a really nice flat top. And these air pockets that you see are a little bit heavier than normal due to the fact that it got too cool and before I was able to mold it. So I recommend putting in your chunks at 180 to 185. The only issue that you have is possible smearing of color in the bar, but I don't think that's going to happen as long as the chunks that you're using are well cured. Alright, so now I'm going to stack this up and put a box fan on it, because I like to ensure that it cures well, because this is going to make a great Christmas gift idea for the farmers market this weekend. And I'm going to be selling these this Saturday. Today is Tuesday, so these will sell on Saturday, and these will make a wonderful Christmas present for somebody for Christmas. So I'm hoping this will generate lots of oohs and ahs and sell quite quickly for Christmas presents. All right. Bye, everybody.